Coming up on State of Events,
An update from Governor Gavin Newsom on a possible reopening in California in the coming weeks.
and how some graduating SFSU seniors feel about their commencement ceremony getting postponed. State of Events starts now.
Welcome to State of Events. I'm Jennifer Rios.
And I'm Addison McKay. Let's get down to our top stories of this week. 6 Bay Area counties are extending their shelter-in-place orders through the end of May. The 6 counties include Alameda, Contra Costa, Marin, San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Clara, and the city of Berkeley. They all said in a joint statement on Monday that the new order will, quote, largely keep current restrictions in place. The original date for the order to end was May 3rd, and the first shelter-in-place order for the Bay Area took effect on March 17th.
In his recent press conference, Governor Gavin Newsom addressed Californians as to when he plans to reopen California, and this includes businesses and schools going forward. He says right now we are not in a path to reopen just yet, but will be in the coming weeks, and this will be approached in phases. This will be addressing entertainment, live events, schools, and the non-essential businesses we haven't been able to access just yet. Now, he did say some of these things will be coming in weeks and some months. For further details on Governor Newsom's addressment and where it stands here in California and when your businesses will be reopening eventually, be sure to check out stateofevents.net.
Muni is returning with modified services and is adding the 5 Fulton, 9 San Bruno, 12 Folsom, 28 19th Ave, 38 Geary Rapid, 45 Felton, and the BART Early Bird Shuttle, as well as the N&L buses. The SFMTA eliminated most of its 68 regular bus routes earlier this month due to the COVID-19 pandemic, leaving just 17 of its busiest lines. Muni says the modifications are because of the increase in available personnel and adjusting to ridership trends. It's graduation season, but it won't be happening anytime soon. Reporter Natasha Casino talks to SF State seniors to see how they're feeling about the uncertainty of this big day.
Cap and gown, 2 things you need for graduation, but seniors all over the country are having to put their graduation plans on hold.
Due to the global pandemic, all graduations are postponed until further notice. And to add to an already stressful situation, seniors are now having to deal with the range of emotions that come with the uncertainty of not knowing what will happen with their commencement ceremonies. I spoke with 2 seniors at San Francisco State to see how they're feeling about this sudden change in plans. As we are a month away from what would have been your original graduation date, how do you feel about SF State not giving students an answer regarding their decision about the commencement ceremony?
I'm really frustrated. I completely understand that, like, having to plan something super last minute, like, even though, like, at the beginning of the year, they're like, okay, like, we have it, like, it's going to be at Oracle Park. There's a date, things are going to happen. We paid the $100 application fee. I'm glad we're getting somewhat of a refund, but then having to give back that money to participate in something later is just kind of ridiculous. But I want to know what's going on, and I get that they don't really know what's like happening and they have to talk to like the CDC to figure out what to do. But I just think I think it would be better to be more transparent and saying like, we don't know what to do yet versus like not hearing anything, because I feel like not hearing anything means they already have something planned in mind and they're just waiting for the right time to tell students.
I feel like it kind of sucks for students who are technically class of 2020. I graduated fall 2019, so for me, I'm not super stressed about commencement. I'm okay with waiting a little bit more, but I would love for it to be sooner. I feel like SF State knew that coronavirus was something big. Maybe they should have planned ahead of time, but it is what it is sometimes.
Although SF State hasn't announced what their final decision will be, they did send graduating seniors a survey asking them to rank 3 possible commencement ceremony options. One possibility was a virtual graduation. But how do students feel about this?
I feel like it's lazy. I'm sorry, but it's lazy. It's going to be too hectic. There's going to be so many undergrads and grad students. I don't know if you can do a Zoom meeting or however you want to do it with 8,000 students. That sounds really weird. And also, it's probably not going to be that special if they just show your picture, your name, your like major, and maybe even Latin title, and that's it. And like a slideshow, that it doesn't feel the same.
I think if we were just to like move it online, I feel like it discredits like everything that like every single graduating student has like overcome in order to like obtain their degree, because like it's something that like honestly we have worked like our entire life for. And so just to like limit it like online, I just feel like it really takes away from like the whole day celebrating like you and like your accomplishments.
For the full segment, visit our website at stateofevents.net. In San Francisco, I'm Natasha Casino for State of Events.
The San Francisco Police Department found a severed head in a refrigerator while completing a search warrant on Sunday in the Outer Sunset. Officials say this homicide investigation comes after a missing persons report was filed in connection with a carjacking suspect in Daly City 2 weeks ago. The victim has still not been identified.
Before the shelter-in-place order, State of Events reporter Bronte Sorowski was able to film a story about the drag queens in San Francisco. Now, she revisits the topic to see how the pandemic is affecting the drag queens.
A few months ago, I went to Jolene's bar in San Francisco for a story on SF's drag queen scene. But before I could put the story together, classes moved online, and then we started covering mainly coronavirus stories. I was able to have some great conversations with performers, and didn't want them to go to waste.
I started drag because I'm a part of the LGBTQ, and I always admired drag. Drag is such a special thing to me because it is just pure expression, and basically when you say drag, you can say anything.
Everything is drag. When you wake up in the morning and you put on your work uniform or your school clothes, that's drag. This is just me expressing how I feel as Poison Oakland, and then I go home and I wash it off and I put on my jeans and my t-shirt and I'm still me.
When San Francisco enacted a shelter-in-place order, these drag queens didn't let it stop them from performing.
I was born bad.
Having to do it digitally kind of sucks because I really thrive off of having the attention of like a live audience and really feeling their energy. So when you have to do your show at home, you're just performing for the webcam or like just to the camera. So you're really missing out on that like energy that just comes with a live performance.
While Poison Oakland transitioned her shows online, they are now more for show than profit.
When you do a live show, you can rely on tips because audience members generally know to tip. But when it's digital, you're just like seeing someone on an Instagram live or on a Zoom call or something. You might not be so inclined to tip because you have to go open Venmo, open Cash App. So tips are definitely way down.
But being in quarantine has some creative benefits.
I also get to do like other kinds of videos and visuals than I would do in just a regular performance. So I got to do like a music video, and I can, do more creative content now.
Whether in person or online, these drag queens aren't going to let anything stop them from expressing themselves. In Los Angeles, Bronte Sorotsky, State of Events.
Next on State of Events, a former SF State student tells us how her travels from California to Israel changed due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
And how immigration attorneys and clients are dealing with the closures of the borders.
When it's time to choose healthcare for your teen, you want the best. When it's time for your teen's questions to be answered, you want a professional you can trust. At Valencia Health Services, your time is well spent. We provide professional, quality healthcare. Valencia Health Services, dedicating quality time to professional healthcare because your teen's health is our first priority. Valencia Health Services, quality time because we care.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi explains what the new coronavirus relief bill means for state and local governments. The proposed bill sparked debate among representatives as to where the funding for this bill lies as states weigh in on the public health and economic risks as to whether businesses remain closed or look towards reopenings. Republican Larry Hogan and Maryland expressed his concern stemming from his state's economic crisis.
We're on the front lines, and we can't provide services to the people in our states and help us get out of this economic problem without that assistance.
This Sunday, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said the White House would consider additional support for the state and local governments. He also expressed that economic return starting in July would mean a sense of optimism. White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett, however, said to expect some surprise on the immediate horizon.
I think that the next couple of months are going to look terrible. You're going to see numbers that are as bad as anything that we've ever seen.
President Trump had some new ideas about potentially using disinfectants in the body at last week's coronavirus press briefing. President Trump is claiming that his controversial comments about using disinfectants to kill the coronavirus in the body were meant to be taken, quote, sarcastically. During a bill signing in the Oval Office, Trump says it was not actually a serious suggestion. On Thursday's coronavirus briefing, the president asked COVID task force doctor Deborah Birx, is there a way we can do something like disinfectants in the body or almost a cleaning? His comments have caused doctors and disinfectant supply makers to warn the public against injecting disinfectants. Because of the coronavirus pandemic, a former SF State student has found her new home, Israel. Her travels from California to Israel is one that she'll never forget. Our reporter Sophia Silver has the story.
Vanessa Better is an SF State alum who recently relocated to Israel. And her 10-day visit back to California turned into a month because of COVID-19.
Upon her arrival in Israel just over a week ago now, Vanessa experienced an interesting journey home.
I flew from San Diego to San Francisco, and there wasn't any kind of fever taking, like there weren't any tests or precautions, but everything in that airport was closed except for like maybe one thing every 10 gates or so. And it was very, very empty except for the select few crazy travelers like myself. And on my flight to Israel, there were about 40 of us.
Touching down in the Holy Land, Vanessa and her fellow passengers had their attendance taken several times and their temperature checked as well. Those who showed symptoms were sent to a hotel in Tel Aviv, while those who didn't show any symptoms, like Vanessa, were sent to a hotel in Jerusalem to be quarantined for a full 14 days.
Once you got to Jerusalem, you were only allowed to leave the bus one at a time, where you had to leave, get your baggage, get your room key, get in the elevator, and then the next person was allowed to go. So that was honestly the longest part of the whole shebang.
And this was Vanessa's new home, where she couldn't leave and no visitors were allowed.
They came around doing the actual COVID test. I was wondering when that was going to happen. And you open your door and there's 3 people in scary hazmat suits. And the funniest part was that I opened the door and he just goes, "You know why I'm here, right?" I was like, yes. And it's quite uncomfortable. The throat part is similar to a strep test if you've ever experienced that, but the nose one is it's brutal. It goes down very far and it's very uncomfortable, and they have to leave it there for a few seconds.
This test was not optional for Vanessa, as the government required all returning citizens to be both tested and quarantined when coming home.
May 2nd is my release day. I have a little calendar on my wall to check off each day.
Until then, Vanessa is doing her part to keep herself and the rest of Israel safe. In Castro Valley, I'm Sophia Silver, State of Events.
U.S. Customs and Border Patrol just announced their first case of an individual in custody testing positive for the coronavirus. Officials say they are currently conducting contact tracing for those who may have been in contact with the individual. Currently, at this time, they are monitoring his symptoms.
Researchers are looking into a potential antibody to help those infected with the coronavirus. America's Blood Bank is partnering with the FDA to collect convalescent plasma as potential therapy for the coronavirus. This plasma is blood that came from people who recovered from the coronavirus and are currently in healthy condition. Today, America's Blood Center, which accounts for 60% of the nation's blood supply, is joining the fight with the Department of Health and the FDA to move forward with the potential treatment. Researchers are saying that the plasma might be able to provide antibodies to fight the virus.
Coming up on State of Events, find out how Anaheim police officers are helping the homeless in their communities during the pandemic.
And what rules Southern California beaches are enforcing to prevent crowding during the upcoming heat wave.
Save water, please. Don't forget to turn off the lights. Hey, that goes in the compost bin. Be sustainable. Be sustainable. Live sustainably.
Southern California beaches are still crowding despite concerns over the coronavirus. This weekend, beaches in Ventura and Orange counties remained open, but beachgoers had to follow certain restrictions, including keeping parking lots closed to limit crowds and to physically distance. However, with a heat advisory issued Friday, the beach crowding continues.
Celebrity news today, Tom Hanks and his wife Rita Wilson, who recently had their own battle with the coronavirus after testing positive while vacationing in Australia. The couple is now offering their plasma to researchers to find a new vaccine. It is said they are currently carrying the antibodies now, which may help develop a vaccine for the future. Hank teased fans about donating his blood to researchers on NPR. If this were to be effective, the Academy Award winner says he'd like the name Hank Seen. Fans responded with worry on Twitter, saying this might give patients into Forrest Gump.
Reporter Eduardo Wehan interviews an Anaheim police officer on what measures are being taken to help the homeless community during the coronavirus pandemic.
With tourism effectively vanishing, thousands of motel and hotel beds are vacant across the country. As we take a look at Southern California's homelessness in Orange County, a spokesperson at the Anaheim Police Department comments on the measures being taken up to help the less fortunate.
Here in Anaheim, in Southern California, we've got a variety of resources that we give to our homeless community here. That includes some non-governmental organizations. The last check this morning was that a lot of those NGOs are completely full. Their beds are completely full. So we've also got a dedicated homeless outreach team here in Anaheim that consists of one sergeant and a team of police officers that do nothing but try to provide services for our homeless population and get them off the street. So again, it goes back to that educational component. We're trying to convince our homeless population of why it's important for them to get off the streets right now, take the services that we're making available to them. And through that outreach, we're hoping that we can limit the exposure that they will ultimately face to getting this COVID infection, because based on some of the underlying health conditions that a lot of our homeless population may have, they could be at great risk for ending up on the wrong side of the statistical numbers that we're seeing. So that's the police department stance moving forward on it. Again, just to retouch on our non-governmental organizations that we have available to us, they help assist us and back us up. And we also have a homeless shelter here that's actually run by the county that's in the city of Anaheim with, I believe it's 150 beds.
In San Francisco, I'm Eduardo Wijon, State of Events.
Say goodbye to grocery bag fees? Well, at least for the next 2 months. Governor Gavin Newsom signed an executive order suspending the state law for 60 days that will ban grocery and convenience stores from charging the 10-cent state law fee for single-use plastic bags.
That's all we have for today's episode of State of Events.
To stay updated with all the stories we are working on, be sure to check us out on all of our social media accounts.
And visit our website, stateofevents.net. I'm Jennifer Rios.
And I'm Madison McKay. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.